Whether you're looking for a better approach angle or a cooler look that shows more tire on the front of your rig, a bumper cut might be the way to go, or at least a starting point before going all out on a steel bumper. In this video, I'll show you how I did it on my 4th Gen 4runner. I started by unscrewing and pulling the fender liner out of the way, then wiped the bumper so the tape would stick well when lining out the cuts. Before cutting into your bumper, you want to be somewhat precise with your tape placement and don't want the tape falling off as you go. There's a metal bracket behind the bumper that I decided to leave intact and cut around rather than cut it out. The bracket is what determined where I start my cut line with the tape. I aimed to cut at about a 1/4 inch from that bracket. The horizontal cut line below the fog light needs to leave enough vertical space for the trim to push onto the end of it, so I left it about a 1/2 inch tall. In an effort to follow the visual geometry and body lines of the 4runner, I used the top of the fog light as the high point of the diagonal cut. This might help the visual appeal of the cut instead of just picking a random spot to end on. The 4th Gen 4runner doesn't have many harsh lines, so I put a radius below the fog light rather than a 90-degree cut. This will also help the push-on trim follow the cut all the way down. I used a jigsaw with a fine-tooth blade to do the cutting. I chose the jigsaw because it's easier to turn than a sawzall, and it melts the plastic less than a cut wheel, though either of those other tools do the job. I'm a firm believer in using what you have on hand. The jigsaw did melt the plastic a little, which caused it to partially fuse back together as I went, but it pulled back off easy. I used a right-angle die grinder with the sanding wheel to clean the cut edge, but honestly felt like the box cutters were easier to control and cleaned up the plastic burrs really well. After you like and subscribe, you can find the rubber push-on trim on Amazon. It was under 15 bucks for 16 feet of it, which is more than enough to do this job. With some pushing power from your thumbs, the trim pushes on fairly easy 1 inch at a time. This is what really helps finish off the project and makes it look legit. The rubber trim has metal strips embedded in it and feels very sturdy as it pushes on. I'm confident it won't be coming off. A pair of wire cutters makes clean and easy work of trimming the end of it. I'm a believer in keeping the fender liner around as long as it's out of the way and doesn't look bad. It does help keep mud and debris off important front end components, though many people pull it out. In my case, it was easy to trim and tuck underneath using zip ties and existing brackets. After measuring for symmetry about 10 times, I taped up and cut the other side of the bumper, and within an hour I had a whole new look on the front of my 4runner, and very much improved the tire's approach angle. Keeping the little bracket behind the bumper forced me to leave more plastic than originally planned, but it does provide support and rigidity. I may go back to remove that bracket and cut more, but for now I'm super happy with the way it looks and the improved approach angle. I was surprised that while I was looking for inspiration for where to cut, I couldn't find any examples of 06 to 09 4th Gen 4runners. There's a few 03 to 05 4th Gens and obviously a ton of 5th Gens with a bumper cut, but their lines are different. Hoping mine can provide some inspiration to other 06 to 09 4th Gen owners. If you have any questions at all, let me know in the comments below, and as always, thank you for watching. See you on the next one.